Obviously, the title's being sarcastic, but for some strange reason, I feel a need to tell you that I'm being sarcastic, even though I say it's sarcasm in the title. So today's story starts off as a rarity, actually, because it was in the middle of the daytime. As you guys know, I've said it numerous times, I only work at night. So this particular day was definitely a rarity because I was out around 5, 6 o'clock. And I was out in the Midtown area, which means nothing but rush hour traffic. And in Midtown at rush hour, everyone likes to use Uber Pool. And y'all know how I feel about that shit. So I pick up one guy who gets in the car. Obviously, he's a Muslim, he's a follower of Islam. He had on the entire traditional garb. And when he got in the car, he said flat out, "Assalamu alaikum." I said, "Hey, how you doing?" Not trying to be disrespectful. Even though I know some of the terminology, some of the sayings, I'm not gonna engage in that just out of respect. Like, I don't wanna be disrespectful by saying it, maybe saying the wrong thing. So as we drive along, he instantly starts telling me about his struggles that he still suffers with today, in 2019. As a Muslim man in America. Everyone who sees him, he gets kind of tense, and because of recent events with recent quote-unquote comedians that will remain nameless, people still look at him and people who look like him a certain way, and they are very, very prejudiced against him. They automatically just start to discriminate or prejudge him. So as we're riding along, another rider gets added to the trip. Yay, Uber Pool. I let him know. He's like, "Okay, cool, I know what I signed up for, I'm good." And as we're pulling up to the curb, it is a white woman who walks up to the car. He gets an instant attitude. He's like, "Oh, here we go." He said, "This is what I'm talking about. Watch. She's either gonna wanna sit in the front seat with you, or she's gonna cancel the trip altogether. She's not even gonna wanna get in the car when she sees me. Just watch, brother, just watch." So as she walks up to the car, she points to the back seat, and I'm like, I give it a thumbs up, sure. So she gets in the back. As soon as she gets in the car, you can feel her energy is very, very light. It's very, very friendly. She's like, "Oh, hey, how are you? What's going on, guys?" She asks him, "What's your name?" He says, "My name is Muhammad." Then he says, almost kind of condescendingly, "Do you know what that means?" As she said, it means praise or worthy to be praised in Arabic, right? His eyes kind of dart up real quick, like, oh, okay. So as we're riding along, she looks to him and asks, "So what masjid do you make salat at?" His face drops. He's like, "What the hell?" So he tells her, and she starts asking him different questions about different people that he might know in the community where he lives at. And he's like, "Yeah, I know this person, I know that person." And she talks about when she made her own pilgrimage to Mecca, and as a white woman, she was actually allowed in. She was actually allowed to kind of walk around and observe things and just see how everything was going. And she said that she had a great appreciation for Islam as a religion and for Muslims in general. His face went from kind of like a scowl of disdain to, by the end of the ride, the look on his face was like that mix of kind of like surprised and impressed at the same time. So we get to Muhammad's stop, and as he's about to get out, he looks back at the woman and says, "Thank you. Thank you, this was very helpful." And she's looking at him kind of confused. She's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Don't even worry about it. Just know that I thank you and I appreciate having met you today." So he leaves, and she's like, "Oh, okay, well, wasn't he nice?" So as we continue to drive along to her destination, she begins to tell me how the reason why she knows so much about the Islamic religion is that she was in love with a Muslim man a few years back. She said this man she was head over heels in love with. She said it was the first time that she was ever actually in real love. She said she met him at her job, and when she first met him, he made her nervous. Over time, though, she said she learned about him, she learned about where he comes from, she learned about his religion, and she fell in head over heels in love with him. She said she was more in love with him than any other man she's ever dealt with in her entire life. The problem, however, was his family did not approve of her. And she said that was one of the wildest rude awakenings she had ever experienced in life. Because up until that point, from her perspective of a white woman in America, she knows what it's like to have to be the perpetrator of prejudice. But to have someone actually discriminate against her because of her skin color, that shit threw her for a loop, and it opened her eyes to something that she wasn't aware of before. She said eventually he had to go back home, and it just didn't work out between the two of them because he could not reconcile his family's wishes with his own. But she says she harbored no ill will, and to this day she still loves him to death, and she knows for a fact that she probably never loved anybody else the way that she loves him. She said every once in a while she tries to reach out to him just to say what's up. Sometimes he'll respond, other times he won't. She's not sure if he's moved on or not, but she said she will never forget him, she will never stop loving him, and she's not sure if there will ever become a time where she's able to move on from him. And what I found interesting about this ride was that through her experience, she was able to open the eyes of someone else who's from that same sect, who helped him realize, without him even knowing it, that he had a preconceived notion about somebody just off of how they looked. And through her conversation, through her experiences, through her perspective that was shaped by her experiences, she was able to help him realize, like, okay, maybe, just maybe, I'm jumping the gun on someone when I first see them. Yeah, it happens to me a lot, but that doesn't mean I have to do it as well. So I guess the moral to the story is, it doesn't hurt to be open about other ideas, other perspectives, or other people's cultures. Because when you're closed-minded, yeah, you might keep out or keep away the thing that you think is bad. But being closed-minded, you might also keep out what you didn't know was good. But once again, what do I know? I'm just an Uber driver, right?